next speaker, I'm delighted to welcome Malia Bouattia, the first Muslim president of the National Union of Students.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone, thank you for coming and spending your Saturdays here listening to the state of things, I guess, and my hope is that you want to do something about it once you leave this room. So we meet again, another year, again at an incredibly crucial time, a time when our government is openly attacking students, public sector workers, migrants, black people, women, disabled, LGBT+ communities, and the unemployed. Already as students, we're being hit the hardest with soaring youth unemployment, rising tuition fees, and savage cuts to education in the public sector. And this new higher education bill is set to increase fees even further and is on course to destroy the opportunities of a generation, along with the endless cuts to further education, which are a lifeline for so many of the communities that I listed just before. Across Europe, we've seen even growing racism and anti-migrant and anti-refugee sentiments across the world that really we've seen in decades. And as racism soars across Britain and the rest of Europe, it has a devastating impact on all of our communities and all of our civil liberties. Black communities are stopped, searched, spied on and harassed without just cause, and even legally killed based on suspicion. When we think of Mike Brown and others in the States, we cannot help but wonder what the experiences of black people in Britain would be if our institutionally racist police were allowed to carry guns. And recent cases like Jermaine Baker remind us that even in the UK, this is not merely a far-off possibility, but a brutal reality. And when it's called out, we're told to focus on how black people are killing each other on the streets. Not that we ever have the choice of erasing the loss and trauma that has surrounded us, but as writer Ta-Nehisi Coates puts it, to yell black on black crime is to shoot a man and then shame him for bleeding. We continue to see the police brutalising black people globally, with the Black Lives Matter movement in the US serving as an example of the struggle faced to just assert the worth of black life. And since last year, NUS joined forces with the Black Lives Matter chapters across the US to bridge global efforts and to end deaths in police custody, because the reality is our loved ones are being murdered at the hands of the state here in the UK every 6 days, and there is nothing more urgent than literally saving lives. The over-policing of our communities doesn't just stop here. The government has steadily brought the borders closer to our campuses in attacking our international students. Theresa May, our current Prime Minister, has been the face of, in many ways, of the increasingly harsh measures against migrants. And this year, a court found, under her leadership at the Home Office, she wrongfully deported over 40,000 international students from the country on the false evidence they had cheated in their English language tests. Shame. And since her ascent to PM, she has announced, as you all remember, the building of a literal wall alongside the French government in Calais to stop the people fleeing war, poverty and destruction, often caused by our own government, to enter the country in search of a new and safer life. These policies are absolutely abhorrent and stand in sharp contrast with a society built on mutual help, solidarity and support that I and so many others want to see. And no surprise that this state has also packaged one of the most racist projects yet in the so-called Counter-Terror and Security Act and the Prevent Agenda. And they've taken racialised profiling, surveillance and targeting all the way into our nurseries, our dental surgeries, our mental health care services and our classrooms. Prevent reminds us, for one thing, that the state continues to see us as suspect and innocent until proven guilty doesn't apply to black, Muslim and migrant communities. I have to quickly wrap up. So I just want to say that we have fought back and we continue to. We've taken to the streets, led demonstrations, protests, campus occupations, and so much more. And those in power, when those in power refuse to listen to the people and introduce measures after measures, rendering our education inaccessible and actively destroying lives across society, we've given them a reason to pay attention, reminding ourselves that when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes our duty. Now, there's even greater need for our collective voice to challenge the inequalities that blight our communities, and as history has shown us, we're no more powerful than when we work together, based on the common experiences to overcome injustice and dismantle structural oppression. But this should not come at the cost of perpetuating any other form of oppression. Spaces that we organise in should not be given a free pass from the issues that we call out in relation to the state and its institutions. In order to build an active, effective, collective and united movement against racism, we must ensure it practices and not only preaches intersectionality, and that we don't ignore or brush away abuse under the rug. Anti-racism doesn't come at the cost of misogyny, homophobia and any other oppression. If we take on injustice in any form, we must take on all of them in any space that we organise in. So just a quick plug, please join the national demonstration. There will be blocks, there will be Stand Up to Racism blocks, Black Student blocks, there will be Students Not Suspects block. Whichever block you want to join, just come out on the day because there will be a strong message that we are in solidarity with international students and migrants, and that the cuts to education are by no means disconnected to the rising racism and policies that blight the most vulnerable in our community. So we continue to build, fight, resist. We must do so in the spirit which Black Lives Matter articulated so beautifully, that this is not a moment, this is a movement. Thank you.